Well, not really.
Okay, so my question
You are seeing the channel's body, you're not seeing mine.
Very true. Numbers.
Numbers, vibrations,
Exactly.
proportions, ratios.
What brought me here?
Yes.
I see them all the time.
Yes. It's your synchronistic markers.
What do they mean?
They let you know when you are in the appropriate vibration of your true self. They're like road signs, a road map.
Okay.
You're using them as markers to let yourself know you are still on the vibrational path that you prefer to be on at that moment. At that moment. Thus, then, the idea is that whatever the vibration feels like at that moment, that's the vibration to explore. That's where the information lies that you need. Yes?
Yes.
All right. Does that answer your question? It's not a big mystery, you know.
To a degree.
Yes.
So after I started listening to your videos,
yes.
Connecting more to my higher self,
Yes.
listening more,
Yes.
how can I connect more to that physically?
Well, are you following the entire formula for acting on your highest joy?
I am, until I have that arrow in the unexpected direction.
Then why isn't that included in the definition of your joy? Why is that made to be an exception?
It's not that it's an exception, it's just that it throws me off.
So what?
You're right. So what?
Isn't that part of the idea of having surprises in life? You don't want your life to be boring, right?
Definitely not.
Well, then welcome the unexpected direction changes. That's what it's all about. Yes?
Yes.
Well, then include it in the definition of your joy, because you are making it an exception, or it wouldn't throw you off. You would recognize it as a change of direction that serves you. You wouldn't have a question about it at all if you weren't defining it in some way as something different from your joy. You're saying it doesn't belong there somehow, but it does.
Okay. It's just that when I'm led by my emotions,
yes,
it throws me off, and then
but
I don't...
your emotions are there to get in touch with what beliefs generate them. Remember, belief comes first. You cannot have an emotion without believing something to be true first. So if you're having a certain emotion, it's telling you you have a belief that generated this. If you don't prefer the feeling and you don't prefer the belief, find out what you would have to believe is true about yourself in that circumstance in order to generate that feeling. Then change that belief if you don't prefer it.
Okay.
So use the emotion to find out what the belief is.
Okay, I've been working on that.
Well, all right. Then how long will you continue to work on it as opposed to simply using it?
I have used it.
Now and then, yes, but obviously there are times when you don't, or we wouldn't be having this conversation.
You're right.
I know, that's why I said it. So it's only about the times you don't do that we're focused on, yes?
Yes.
So find out why you're making a difference between the times you use it and the times you don't. Because that's the only reason you don't use it all the time, is because in your definitional belief system, you're making a difference between this situation and that situation.
Okay. Manifestation.
Manifestation is simply the recognition, the ability to see, the ability to perceive what was heretofore invisible to you but has always been here.
Yes.
And so?
And so I visualize.
Yes. And?
To become that frequency.
And?
And it doesn't always happen.
Congratulations! Remember when I asked you if you were using the entire formula of excitement? You said yes,
right.
But you just said no.
Okay.
Do you remember the entire formula?
But
this goes for visualization as well. Would you like us to repeat it?
Yes.
Is everyone paying attention? Yes. Act on your highest excitement, every moment that you can, to the best of your ability, taking it as far as you can until you can take it no further. Are you paying attention?
Yeah.
With zero assumption, insistence, or expectation as to what the outcome ought to be. Zero.
How do you let go of those expectations?
I'll tell you, thank you. You let go of the expectations by understanding that whatever your physical mind is capable of expecting or whatever your physical mind is capable of visualizing as an outcome falls way short of what your higher mind could actually bring to you. So when you understand that by simply adhering and insisting on the physical mind's interpretation that you're actually limiting the outcome, maybe then you'll stop doing that.
I'll keep telling myself that.
When you believe it, things will change.
I believe it.
Then things will change. Not because you need them to. Remember, you have to decide to be happy for its own sake. You can't decide to be happy because you'll get this if you do. That's called expecting an outcome. That's called putting a condition on it. You're happy because that's the state you prefer, and you don't care what happens. Because whatever happens, by definition, when you're in a positive state, must still serve you in a positive way. So it doesn't matter what happens. Because you understand that the true proof of change is not that the outside world changes. The true proof of change is that you respond differently even if the outside world stays the same. That's how you prove you've changed. And when you prove you have changed, then the outside world knows it's true and will reflect the change. But if you change in order to get the outside effect, you haven't changed because you're still doing it externally instead of internally. And therefore, if you're still doing it with the condition that if you change, the outside must change, the outside reflection knows you haven't changed, and therefore it doesn't.
Okay, can you recap? Just to the part where you're saying that you have to change for yourself and not for the expectation.
There is no other reason to be happy other than that's the state you prefer.
Okay.
Don't create any other reason.
Okay.
And when you don't create other reasons, then everything that is reflective of that happiness will appear in your life. But not because you need it to, because you don't care, because you have simply chosen to be happy for no other reason than that's what you prefer.
Okay,
It's again like the idea of looking in a mirror and seeing your reflection frown. If you sit there and go, I will smile when you smile first, you're going to be standing there for a long, long, long time. But if you say to the reflection, you know what, I don't care if you smile back, I'm going to smile because that's what I prefer. Well, then what happens in the reflection? It smiles back because it doesn't have a choice but to reflect what you truly are for its own sake. Not because you need the reflection to smile back, just because you feel like smiling. Yes?
Yes.
Does that help you?
Yes.
Thank you.
Okay, lucidity and dreams.
Dreams.
Yes, dreams.
What about them?
Okay, is there a permission slip to gain more lucidity into my dreams?
Absolutely.
Tell me.
Well, there are many ways to go about it. One technology permission slip that has now been invented on your planet is what is called an REM mask. You wear it while you're sleeping. It generates a flash of light in such a way as to remind you, because the light enters the dream, and the light reminds you that you're dreaming. So then, if you allow yourself to remember that that's what the light means, you'll wake up in the dream. You'll be lucid. And at that moment, you can actually send a signal back to the mask to stop flashing so it doesn't interrupt you. So, look it up. All right?
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, one more. Now one more. Okay. Okay, can you tell me about the energy centers in the chakras?
Yes, I can, but not now.
Okay. Fine.
Thank you.
All right. Bye.
Hello, Bashar.
And you good day.
So earlier this year, I had the experience where I was laying in my bed
Oh, how exciting.
and feeling like there was a distinct presence at the foot of my bed
A distinct presence.
that was sort of swaying me back and forth to where I was sort of being pulled out of my body. That's what it felt like. And that's when my mind started traveling to other places and I was experiencing other things.
All right, well, so far this all sounds pretty normal.
And every time I would come back into my body, I'd go back out again. But the last time, it felt like I was being pinned down.
Yes.
And that became very scary for me.
Oh,
so I
all
tried
right.
to wake myself up.
Yes,
Can you help me understand what?
Well, there are
that's
many
about?
things that can be going on there. If you are, in that sense, actually allowing yourself to shift out into other dimensions, sometimes the idea is that when you want to stop doing that, you have to throw a switch in the amygdala of your brain to paralyze your body. Do you understand?
Yes.
Because then you are, in some senses, forcing yourself to remain in one particular modality, one particular frequency. Now, there are beings that know how to do this when taking you from one dimension to another, and it can feel like you're being pinned down, so to speak. But it's really just flipping a switch in your amygdala. And this is what happens for most people on your planet also when you dream. Because if that switch didn't paralyze you, you would act out your dreams. This is what happens with sleepwalking. The amygdala switch hasn't gone on. You understand?
I do.
So, there can be many different kinds of experiences you may be having that can trip that switch or give you that paralytic or pinned down feeling.
Okay.
Sometimes it's actually important to do that when transferring from one dimension to another so that the particular frequency you are at when you are frozen, so to speak, will remain the frequency that you're at so that it can be more precisely calibrated what dimension you're going to, instead of simply randomly flying off and finding yourself you know not where.
Okay. Is there anything to be afraid of? 'Cause
No.
It brings up a lot of
No.
fear for me.
No. The only thing you are feeling is the idea that when that happens, again, going back to the survival instinct component of your physical mind, it's going into the idea of survival instinct. It's going into fight or flight mode. It's going into the idea that it's being annihilated, that it's being controlled in that sense. You understand?
Yes.
But there is really nothing to fear.
Okay.
Again, remember, anything you will ever discover in the unknown is just more of you.
Right.
Even if you are dealing sometimes with what you would consider to be other entities, other beings, more often than not, those other beings, those other entities are just other versions of you in a different reality. And you're interacting with yourself. So perhaps if you feel that, the way to dispel it would be to say, howdy there. I recognize you. You understand?
I do.
And have a little fun with it. Play with it a little bit and see if that will help you feel a little bit more relaxed. And a little bit more fluid. And a little bit more flexible. And a little bit more in control. Yes?
Yes.
Does that help you?
It does.
And?
I have one more question.
I know.
So in the process of detoxifying the body,
Yes.
I find that many people I help, there's a synthetic sort of orange kind of sulfur residue in the body that sometimes comes from different ant drugs.
Yes.
Do you have any suggestions for how to move this out? Because it's really hard.
What form of detoxification are you utilizing?
Raw foods and herbs?
All right. There's a number of places that have extremely powerful detoxification programs and regimens. We have suggested one that we guided the channel to discover to answer these kinds of questions. Is that what you have been using?
Yes.
All right. And you find that the residue remains?
Yes.
Have you done the full-length detoxification?
Yes, even with people who've been doing it for a long time.
Have you done the incurables program?
I feel like I'm doing something very similar to the Incurables program.
Such as?
A similar line as American Botanicals, very comprehensive
All right.
line of herbal formulas.
In what way are you still detecting the compound in the body?
The iris reading.
All right. One moment. Up the lemon juice content by a factor of 3 at least.
Okay.
That will help flush it out the rest of the way. It may have to go up to 10 times the amount, but somewhere between 3 and 10 times the lemon juice factor, it will help flush that out.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hello, Bashar.
And to you, good day.
At various spots on this planet, there seem to exist gravitational and spatial anomalies. I'm talking about places like the Santa Cruz Mystery Spot, the Oregon Vortex.
Yes.
I'm wondering if you can tell us what this is about.
Well, we mentioned this to some degree a little while ago about the idea that these electromagnetic fields on your planet are always in fluctuation and sometimes can give different values to the geomagnetic field, the electromagnetic field, especially when they overlap or reinforce each other. Look at it as resonance. Look at it as standing waves. Look at it as waves reinforcing or canceling each other, and you'll have a better understanding of why some of these anomalies exist. Because there are certain balance points, shall we say, on your planet, being that it is a kind of a crystalline form, certain nexus points, whereby these overlaps may be reinforced in higher degrees of probability than other places. And thus then you may find that some of these anomalies will happen in those places more likely than others. Does that make sense?
Yes, it does. Are these anomalies centered at some particular point, say under the ground, or some point that could be located via an experiment?
Yes. Some of your electromagnetic sensors are somewhat sensitive enough to pinpoint these things.
And can you tell us a little bit more about specifically the phenomena that are occurring in these spots? There seems to be an anti-gravity phenomenon, and some people claim they're time shift phenomena as well.
Well, in a sense there are, but remember, time shift phenomenology isn't really anything more than shifting by a greater degree to a parallel reality that's coexistent. Because there really is no such thing as time travel, because everything exists at once. So even when you think you're going into your past, it isn't your past. It's simply another parallel reality that looks like your past.
Okay.
Does that answer the first part?
Yes, it does.
All right.
Yes, it does.
And again, the idea is that there will be shifts in all of these ways. These portals, some of them are stronger than others. Some of them are more connected to other dimensions than others. One very strong portal on your planet is that which you refer to as the Bermuda Triangle. The idea here is that it is a great overlap portal, multidimensional overlap portal. And many different kinds of things can find their way through it. Those that know how to utilize it, those that know how to set up a resonance field in order to utilize it, can navigate in it to different dimensions. Those that may simply have the experience of happening to match a certain resonant frequency within the overall chords or tones of that field may simply find themselves shifted to another dimension without knowing how they got there or how to get back. Some of this can sometimes seem like time displacement. Some of it can sometimes seem like anti-gravity, levitational displacement. Sometimes it can seem like a few other kinds of things as well.
I see. So you're saying it's a sort of dimensional shift that can appear to manifest in various ways.
Yes, because there are always dimensional overlaps. And it depends upon the resonance and the overlapping harmonics of the different kinds of energy fields that determines exactly how that portal is experienced. It's like a switching track in a sense. It's always fluctuating in terms of its direction, in terms of what it's connected to, in terms of what it's anchored to a great degree. Does that make sense?
Yes, it does. Right.
It's really more like music than anything else. There are places where everything harmonizes and there are places where things are discordant. It's sort of like that, although that's an oversimplified definition. And sometimes it will change because these things are always fluctuating. When you can map them and understand them, you can learn to use them navigationally or in a variety of ways. You could, by finding the right frequency in the Bermuda Triangle create what might be kind of a crystalline looking glass device. This crystalline looking glass device, when pitched to the right frequency in that particular portal area, or a few other portals around your planet, would actually allow you to see images from parallel realities, including what you would think of as your past or your future, even though they are simultaneously concurrent. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Now, one moment. There will be a number of overlapping frequencies that would be required to be infused into this crystalline form in order for it to function that way, in order for it to randomly key itself into the vibrational resonance patterns of that portal in such a manner as to be guided or directed in the way that we are speaking of. You can begin with the earth vibration, not only of 7.5 to 7.8 cycles per second, but also the vibration of C sharp. And if you begin to explore there and have sensitive enough equipment with the right constitution of crystal window, and maybe even what you would call the liquid crystal windows, so to speak, might be capable of doing this if you fluctuate them at the right frequency, you'll begin to see forms forming, shadows forming in these windows at the proper pitch, at the proper resonance, that will be indications of consciousness expressing itself in other dimensions. Does this make sense to you?
Yeah.
Does this help you?
Yes. May I ask a related question?
Yes.
In Peru, there are various artifacts that appear to be gateways carved in blocks of solid stone.
Yes.
Can you tell us what these are about?
Well, there are different types. Some of them were to some degree what we're talking about, but in a different way. These gateways, when carved in a certain proportion, out of a certain mineral, contained a certain resonance that allowed people who knew how to match that frequency to be able to become what you would call clairvoyant, to see into other realities. Clairsentient. Does this make sense to you?
Yes.
So in that sense, it was a similar idea, but it happened within the person, not within a device, other than the fact that the doorway itself surrounded them. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Does that help you?
It does. May I ask, is there a particular modality that one could use to activate one of these devices?
If the device, you're talking about the doorways,
Yes.
if the device is still intact, or can be made to be intact, or a new device, a new doorway carved that contains all of the proper proportions and ratios, then again the idea of meditation in that space and also aligning with the gamma frequency can perhaps begin this process again. At the same time, there is another such device referred to in your language as the psychomantium. Are you familiar with this?
No, I'm not.
The psychomantium, in a sense, allows you to peer into the etheric realm of spirit, or to train you to become more sensitive to it, sitting in a room, perhaps a small room or a small space, with a mirror pointing at a blank wall so that you see nothing in the mirror at all but the blank wall. Not your reflection, not anything else. And having no light but a single candle. And then just gazing into the mirror. This is a form of scrying, a form of crystal gazing, but it is one that is profoundly connected to the vibrations within you that are connected to the spirit realm. So if you create the psychomantium in that sense, you can train yourself to see spirits in the mirror. That's another such permission slip device. All right?
All right, thank you.
Does this help you?
Yes, indeed. Thank you.
Thank you.
Gracias. Hello, Bashar.
And you good day.
Good day to you too. I have a couple questions.
Yes.
One of them is related with today's topic, the parallelogram.
Yes.
After I heard your speech, your explanation. I thought I understood. Then I was at the table having lunch with another friend.
Yes.
And then I realized that I was more confused than before.
Oh, congratulations.
Welcome to the team.
All
So I'm going to tell you what kind of understood, and please help me to understand better.
Or you could simply tell us what you're confused about.
Well, it works both ways.
All right.
Okay, good. What I understood is this: is some sort of a parallel life that works together, and everything happened at the same time, and somehow we are at the center of it. And by the fact of focusing on something, we can shift that reality. And by that fact, instead of being parallel, then they intersect somewhere in the line.
I understand how you're describing this, but that doesn't negate the fact that there's still parallel realities. It's more like the idea that your consciousness shifts to another parallel reality. The consciousness itself is the intersection, not the parallel realities themselves.
Oh, that makes more sense. So
Yes,
then
it
the
does.
parallel part is not outside of us. It's more like, let's call it
The
inside of
structure
it.
never changes. Your perspective of it changes, and the perspective shift is the intersection between the parallel realities. Parallel realities themselves never intersect. They always are parallel.
So if following that thought, if I am living this kind of a parallel reality, I'm going to be living in a linear way the next, like 1 year from now, another parallel reality. So in both times, let's call it like that, in both times, I am living the same parallel reality.
No,
and
no,
it's
no,
me
no,
in
no,
the
no,
same
no,
consciousness.
no. You're
Great.
not living the same parallel reality billions of times per second. You're shifting. Parallel reality, parallel reality, parallel reality, parallel reality, billions of times per second. That's what creates the side effect you call time and space, is that your consciousness is shifting through all those parallel realities, which are each frozen like a snapshot. There's no movement, no time, no space, no experience in any parallel reality. It's what you're doing by shifting your consciousness through a series of parallel realities that creates the idea of a parallel reality timeline. But you're actually going like this. Even though it seems like you're going like this, you're actually going like this.
That's the frame that I couldn't get. So the center of it is our consciousness.
Yes, and it averages out and creates a sense of continuity to give you a sense of linearity, but it's anything but linear. You're all over the map.
And how does it work when I change my physical reality to the non-physical reality? Am I still living the
There is
parallel?
still some degree of that, but not as much. There are certain factors that drop away that are no longer necessary. Thus, then, you can experience more parallel realities simultaneously.
So then the parallel reality is more related to this earth life rather than the ethereal life?
It doesn't have to be.
I know it doesn't have to be, but does it work like that?
It can, if that's your focus, yes.
So then I can be focused in this reality as well as in my non-physical reality. So then blending both of them, I'm going to be in both places at once, or
Well, you are in
any other-
both places at once.
No, yeah, but when I don't exist anymore in this earthly life, so then I'm going to be just in one. I'm supposed to.
That's just your perspective. The body will always exist. The life will always exist because everything that exists always exists. You have to, again, look at this as frozen snapshots. If you take a photograph of yourself right now, and you put that photograph on a table.
Just like the lunch.
Yes, and then you take another photograph of yourself tomorrow and put that photograph on the table. Did the photograph from yesterday disappear? No, it's still on the table. All the photos exist at the same time. They don't go away. Ceasing to exist doesn't mean that the structure changes. What you're calling ceasing to exist is just changing your focus. But just because you've changed your focus to the non-physical photographs doesn't mean the physical photographs have gone away. They still exist. It's just that you're not focused through them anymore.
Interesting.
Make sense?
Now it makes more sense.
All right.
Way before. That's good. Thank you for the explanation.
You're welcome.
I have another question that
Yes.
it might not be related with this.
Oh, all right.
We might. So anyway,
We
I
will see.
heard many times the concept of being grounded, right? When we are thinking something and we're trying to figure out what to do, the first call is you gotta be grounded, you gotta be smart, you gotta take it easy, and things like that.
Oh, all right.
So that makes sense, right? In any
In
kind.
some senses, yes.
All right. So kind of extrapolating this idea to the ethereal part, is it possible to have some sort of a ethereal grounding?
There always needs to be grounding so that you can bring the energy of your connection to the higher non-physical mind down to earth in order to have an experience, if that's where you want to focus it. Without the grounding part, you haven't made, in a sense, a connection. You haven't made a link. It's like electricity. If there is a short circuit, you're not going to have an effect. So you have to ground the wire and bring the energy through, all the way through the physical material idea, if that's where you want to experience the effect of it. But what you're doing is connecting and linking to the non-physical part, and you're, in a sense, having an experience that's a blending of the two. But you have to have the grounding side, otherwise it just remains an ethereal idea.
So then both groundings are connected. The earth life, the life that I'm living now,
yes,
gotta be grounded with the other part of me that is somewhere ethereal, non-physical, gotta be grounded. And by the fact of connecting or linking both of them, then the balance, at the end, I believe that is what is going to be, the balance in between both, call it both worlds, the earthy one and non-physical one,
yes,
tends to be balanced.
Yes.
Is that the whole concept?
Yes.
Kind of a complicated.
Not really, it's very simple. You have the higher mind, you have the physical mind, you have the template reality in the middle. When you allow yourself to function as a whole person, you are in balance with the physical mind and the higher mind, using the template level reality to shift yourself in the direction of your highest joy.
That sounds great. So
it's very simple.
So that means when I am in this earthly life, or whoever, I'm going to call it about myself,
Yes, yes, yes.
not so grounded, am I, this is a question, am I producing something on my non-physical part that is also needs some ethereal grounding?
No. The definition of the higher mind is that it is already stable unto itself. It's giving guidance to the physical mind to stabilize it, to allow it to experience what it needs to experience in a certain way. Look at this analogy. The analogy we often give of a diver diving into the ocean. When you're standing on the boat, you're the higher mind. Now you want to project down into physical reality. So you put on the diving mask, you put on the wetsuit, you put on the air tanks, you put on the flippers. You go diving into the ocean. You dive into physical reality. You need the physical mind, the ego structure, the mask, in order to see clearly in that reality. And thus then you have grounded your experience as a higher mind in that reality. But the idea is to do it in a balanced way. You don't expect that diving mask to do anything but paint a clear picture for you. You don't give it any other tasks to do. You don't tell the mask to breathe for you. You don't tell the mask to push you through the water. That's the job of other things. So just letting the mask be the mask lets the mask do its job, and if the mask does its job, you have a very clear view under the ocean of all the fish that you would like to see. When you are done with that, you go back up to the boat, you take the mask off, you take the wetsuit off. That's like the idea of dying. You have no need anymore for that physical mind, but you still have the higher mind, which is, in a sense, from that perspective now, your whole identity. But because the higher mind has given itself the challenge, shall we say, the experience, the theme of exploration, to have this physical incarnation experience, it has created a duality within itself of the version of it that's on the boat and the version of it that's underwater. But both are there at the same time. Does that make sense?
Absolutely makes sense.
All right.
And I will hear the recordings to make sure that it's going to be there forever.
All right. That's
you're-
your grounding way of balancing. Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. It's
Oh.
easy to forget.
If you say so. Remember, that's just a belief that it's easy to forget. When you know something to be true, you never forget it, because knowing and action are synonymous. It becomes part of your behavior. It becomes part of your makeup. What you know to be true, you just do. You don't have to think about it. I ask you to walk across the room. You just walk across the room because you know you can. You don't go, well, let's see. I'm going to think, now, can I walk across? Well, I don't know if I believe I can walk across the... Well, let me think about that. No, you just do it because you know you can do it. That's the idea of the balance point. The higher mind and the physical mind in balance is what you know to be true, you just do. It's one thing, it's one act. Inseparable.
Yeah, I got that one right.
Oh, all right. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, no more chance for another question. Is that the thank you bye, or
No
do
more
I have
chance?
Yeah, no more chance to ask you another simple question?
Are we rolling dice? Are you flipping
Sometimes
a coin?
I am.
Would you like to take a coin out and flip it?
I would like to ask the questions.
Oh, well, all right. Then you have taken it out of the realm of chance.
That means yes?
That means yes.
Okay, good. This is out of this context. I had some sort of, I'm going to put it in these words, some sort of a dream. And if it's and I'm not so expert in colors and things like that, but in that particular dream,
Yes.
I saw some sort of a purple rays or lights, big beams of color,
Yes.
projecting out of let's call it in the space or somewhere.
Yes.
And they were kind of embracing with the red and making some sort of a swirls in the
Yes.
black space.
Yes.
And at the same time, in the middle of it, some white light joined to it.
Yes.
And it's kind of a confusing dream. And in the middle of it, I saw more like the birth of the planet.
Yes.
And it was the blending of not exactly, the color was the projection of the huge, giant amount of energy.
Yes.
And the result of it was the planet.
Yes.
I know it was a dream, but
Well, the
that
dream
can be
is simply
possible.
a memory of an experience on another level. So what you were experiencing was what you might call the etheric level and the causal level. The idea that everything that happens in physical reality has to have an energy version first, an energy template first. So you were looking at the pure raw energy states, the vibrational states that ultimately manifested in the physical template of your physical reality, of the planet.
Thank you, Bashar.
Thank you. Pleasant dreams.
All right, let us continue this transmission by allowing yourselves to become relaxed. Start to breathe deeply, gently, easily. As we take you through this particular meditation to allow for the crystallization of the idea of the shards of a shattered mirror, you may, if you wish, have your eyes open to the holotope, but you can also allow yourself to superimpose in your mind's eye and your imagination some of the imagery that we will deliver to you during this meditation. And you can use the holotope as an underlying template to support and act as a framework for the experience that we are about to deliver. In honor of the story that you have been given tonight, we will take you through a meditative experience that is, in some ways, similar to an experience that Willa herself has in the process of becoming a cryptic. This experience is called the Divinorum. Allow yourselves now to relax. Let your lights go down and your music come up, and begin to breathe deeply and easily. Allowing yourself to let all the concerns of your day drift away. For this span of time and timing, you are here and you are now, and right now you need be nowhere else. Allow yourselves to continue to breathe. And as you breathe and feel the day melting away, and begin to embrace the night, allow yourselves, as you behold the image before you of color, light, and sound, to imagine that you are standing on an infinite plane of light, blue light, And this infinite plane stretches to an infinite horizon that creates a blue line of light as far away as you can imagine, yet you can still perceive it. And this all exists within a void of the deepest blue, the color of twilight, as you stand here upon this infinite plane. In all directions you look, the plane stretches to infinity, creating that blue line of light that is your horizon. And as you allow yourself to turn in a circle on this plane, observing that it is the same in all directions, and you come back to your starting point, allow yourself to imagine that you see on that very, very distant horizon a small glint of light. And slowly, slowly, that glint of light grows larger and larger as something comes closer and closer and closer, moving toward you, but still very far away, still just a glint and a glimmer. You can't quite make it out yet. But eventually, this glimmer of light, this glint, resolves itself into a crystalline sphere that is rolling toward you on this infinite plane, rolling toward you from a great distance. Yet you can see it, even though it's still very, very, very far away. You lose all sense of scale and size. You cannot really tell how far away it is or how large it is. All you can perceive is this crystalline sphere rolling toward you, getting bigger and bigger and bigger. And you begin to realize that it is now the size of a large ball and getting bigger and bigger and bigger. And now it is as big as a house and getting bigger and bigger. Yet you can tell it is still very, very far away. And this crystalline sphere rolls towards you, closer and closer, getting bigger and bigger and bigger. And you can hear it begin to rumble as it rolls across this infinite plane of light, rolling toward you, never stopping. Its arrival is inevitable. And it gets bigger and bigger and bigger until its diameter is high, high, high above you, higher than the biggest building you've ever seen, higher than the biggest mountain you've ever beheld, rolling toward you still, far away, rumbling louder and louder like thunder as it rumbles toward you across this infinite plane. And finally you begin to realize it doesn't stop growing. It's getting bigger and bigger, and the sound is getting louder and louder until it is as big as a moon. And now, as you see it approach and roll toward you, you know you cannot outrun it, so you stand fast and you look up at it. As it bears down on you in its crystalline surface, you see your own reflection in this moon-sized crystalline sphere, and as it rolls over you, you suddenly find yourself inside it, rolling with it, immersed in thick crystalline liquid, floating through it. You have penetrated its outer membrane and are floating to the center of this sphere that contains this thick crystalline liquid light. And as you float freely to the center of this sphere, as it stretches out all around you, and you tumble slowly through it, rolling with it across the infinite plane, and finally arrive at its heart, at its very center. The vibration of its rumbling changes pitch. It becomes higher and higher and higher and louder. It crescendos into a very high frequency vibration that surrounds you, that vibrates the liquid, sending ripples and patterns all through it, through your body as you tumble with it. And it reaches such a peak, such a high frequency that suddenly all of the liquid inside this gigantic, titanic crystalline sphere freezes. And you are frozen with it. And the pitch goes higher still, and higher still, and louder still, and louder still, until this frozen liquid suddenly shatters into an infinite number of cracks and shards and fractures all around you, stretching out from you, from your heart. Infinitely in all directions, it appears to be. Shards and fractures, shards upon shards, large and small, shards that have fractured into other shards, facets glinting, scintillating with a million, a billion flickers of light. And in these facets you begin to see, as you tumble through them like a ghost, images, pictures of your life, past, present, and future, of other lives, simultaneous incarnations, flickering here, flickering there. And you begin to piece together an image, a picture, that all of this is a reflection of you from various points of view, from various perspectives of all that is. As the shards tumble around you, as you tumble through them, insubstantial as a spirit, passing through them, absorbing information from them of the various images that you see, that reveal themselves in the tumbling shards, that glint in your ghostly eyes. And suddenly, you collect all the information from all these shards coming together to inform you, to deliver to you all that you need to know in perfect timing, when you need to know it, to enlighten you, to allow you to gather everything you need. All of this is you in an infinite array of imagery and experience and perspective and awareness and knowledge and love and light in its crystalline form, reflecting to itself all the ways it can experience itself to be, ad infinitum, from all points of view. And you allow yourself to float freely again through this as the shards begin to become ghost-like and fade from around you, as the sphere itself begins to fade from around you, and you simply find yourself the only thing remaining as you tumble through the twilight void. And suddenly, gently, softly, effortlessly, find yourself once again standing on the infinite plane of blue light, stretching to infinity, to that blue line horizon. And know that you now are aware that you contain all the information of all the shards that are within you. And you feel the expansiveness of this information and this awareness. And you breathe it in, and you make it your own, and you crystallize it within you, knowing that you can always call on these shards and these reflections and these facets to deliver to you, perfect place and time, all the information you need to know at that moment to be more fully who you truly are. Giving, sharing, of service to all, willing to be, willing to be, willing to be your true self, your uncompromising, impeccable true self, indestructible, eternal, and infinite. Breathe it in, gently and slowly, and allow the infinite plane to dissolve, and allow the void to dissolve, and allow your music to dissolve, slowly as you breathe, to become softer and softer, fainter and fainter, and the lights to dim and darken, until you're floating free, infinitely, gently, calmly, quietly, where a whisper tells you everything you need to know and is heard with the crystal clarity of a ringing bell, so that you know that everything that you need to know is here and now, right here with you, and you become the frequency of your true being, in harmony, in synchronization, in love and light with all that is. Breathe it in, breathe it in, and breathe it out into your world, that you create anew every moment. Allow yourself now to relax into this new you as a shard of the shattered mirror that you are, constantly reflecting to others and being reflected to with all that you need in life and all that you need in love. Be at peace. Be peace. Be all that you are. Allow yourselves now to just float freely for a while, for a time, and allow the story to continue within you, and allow it to be reflected without. For it is your story and the story of all that is within you. Allow it to unfold and unfold and unfold. Our unconditional love to you all. Sweet dreams.